Well, this is an update to the logs I've been sending out this morning here in pure panic. I have to admit it's pure panic because when I hear of a situation happening that involves 3 agencies happening just for one dragnet on a guy who shot a cop, who's okay, by the way. It still scares me because now I gotta talk about the neighborhood, and now I gotta talk about the town I'm currently residing in for the past several years, and give history concerning about this. And I don't know how long this has been going on. Since moving into this town about 2015 or 2016, somewhere in that area, 2015 actually. This has been one of the most stressful situations ever faced in this town. Unless, of course, we're going to be dealing with a major earthquake or maybe a train derailment. Or, as an old joke would be, God forbid, Walmart moving into town and then disrupting our town completely. Of course, they've been making that joke for a longer time than I've heard. Because there are certain people out there that keep talking about it from time to time. I'll run into. Been living here longer. But what scares me is maybe we have allowed more basically cockroaches to come into this particular place. Sorry, I just got a prompt from somebody. I just want to make sure that my friends out there understand what the hell is going on, because I'm scared shitless over this damn situation. The people that I know have children going to the schools, and they are concerned about the safety now. They're concerned that the situation has really been contaminating, as some of them actually had been saying privately, but posted from time to time, of what the external influences of outer areas have been under our town. And it was only a matter of time before it was going to be touching our town completely. The other thing that's going to be a major step that's going to be scaring the living crap out of me at this point, I know they won't want me to talk about it in the first place, but you know, bad scenarios that would deal with the town's safety and security more and more. They're going to be pleading and screaming to the county supervisors and to the state of getting more money into our coffers, because we need the personnel necessary to protect ourselves. And what scares the hell out of me, with all these other shootings and other situations happening in different areas throughout the country, that our own town is going to be coming across under the crosshairs one of these here days. It scares the hell out of everybody in this town. And it should. It should. Major cities having these situations over here, but it shouldn't be happening in our area. But it is happening in our area. Slowly but surely, and it scares the living crap out of the people. I'm not telling them to wake up. I'm telling them because I understand how they're terrified. I really am. I understand how their secure and safe little town has become a war zone. Naturally, they're going to be looking for people to blame. They're going to be looking for targets at this point over here. We're going to be probably having divisions and derisions happening left and right in this town. Either we come together or we're going to be falling apart. And that's what they're fearing, is falling apart, and therefore they're going to be finding someone to blame. Because they don't know where to direct their fear at this point. I know I'm using too much of that phraseology. But they're going to be pointing. They're going to be looking. And they're going to be blaming. And I wouldn't put it past the town. I would not put it past people under that extreme of fear, looking for scapegoats, looking for people to antagonize one way or another to get them out of town, because they don't want their influence here. Anybody who's got the low income will be it. Anybody who looks like they got the low income is going to be it. Anybody who shows maybe, I happen to use the R word on this one, the R and P word at this point, because that's Pandora's box right there. But if I happen to start opening up that Pandora's box, we're really in for it. But that's what's going to happen. And once that happens here, more and more so, is we're going to be having the lines drawn like crazy. The complex I'm living in right now is indeed a mix. It is a mix. And it should be a mix. We should have the differences here. But differences we can try understanding. And unfortunately, in the differences over here, we also have the segregation happening at this point over here, and the polarization. In certain aspects, there is polarization happening. It's been happening. It's been happening for a while. A long while. Longer than I've been here. And it's creeping in. It's seeping in. For some people, they'll probably look at each other or at different times that we don't want to deal with them because whatever reason is. Now, I've already had that situation going on right now with one of my neighbors. It was already spread out to a lot of other neighbors over here. When I moved into this place, some we really were tolerated, and others just didn't tolerate us very well. They had kids growing up, we yelled at them because of certain things that they were doing in this place that we didn't like. Reported their ass, didn't work. And they grew up with a hell of a lot of resentment. Now they got the resentments. And now they're coming up to adult stage. And they're still doing things. Not being reported, but still doing. What they're doing? Good question. Sorry, your irritation. But now we have to. What do we have to do? What do we have to do to curveball this damn thing? Or what do we do to calm it down? Because we already have to establish the polarizations at this point over here with the negativity looked into it. Then we're really not going to be able to communicate with each other very effectively in order to deal with our differences and anything else happening to this place. That's going to be affecting us a great deal. One thing when you're dealing with bug wars, the one particular affected person will be infecting everybody else, and therefore, gangbang. And since I've gotten some from somewhere, and I'm being the habitation for some of these damn things, now I'm wondering whether or not I'm going to be in the position to be harangued because of it, or isolated even more and more. Probably. If I follow along the polarizations and the segregation and the mindset of it. It probably will happen. But the thing is what I'm talking about right now. There's other actions happening in this town that elements either produced in this town or transplanted into this town that are causing more and more chaos for the old-timers and for the long-time residents of this place. Even for the businesses and residences I'm talking about. They had one mental health guy. That's what his column is. How would you call a guy who's slipped his lid a long time ago and just lived like a hermit, and out of kindness and charity of others, sometimes going after people and other times not going after people, but minding his own business. Something happens at a restaurant, he gets shot, killed. For a time, some people actually mourned the guy, and the rest of the town's like, oh, we heard about that guy. He's dead? Oh well. Nothing else is talked about. Gone, dead, forgotten. No memorial tribute unless somebody else actually puts a memorial. To remember somebody that actually passed away in that area. And it's sad that I'll see the memorials in certain areas without knowing who and what happened. We'll see the crosses, but we don't see the names. We don't know the stories after that. Because I don't. Because I haven't heard. I haven't gone into it. What scares me is I'm going to be dealing with a town that's going to be tearing itself apart while we have another major situation happening at any moment. If we have a hostage situation happening, if we have a shooting happening, and I'm not just talking about just a go into a liquor store and shoot a deputy or shoot something else like that and then run away and then hide the cockroach there. No, what I'm talking about is what happens in the other cities that'll be affecting this particular town, and that's what scares the hell out of me. Is what if we get into one particular place that's going to be having that kind of situation? There are people over here that are hammering out that they want concealed weapon permits. Carry concealed weapon permits. Which means they can carry a gun on them. Because they think they feel safe with a gun. Yet the other shootings I've seen happening all around, and the stories coming out, hardly any good person with a gun is actually solving a situation. But the fallacy and the myth is, if you're a good person, you got a gun, you're trained, there's no issue. Yeah, there is. Because you're dealing with the one thing, the human element. You're dealing with the human element that has to make the decision of life or death at that point over there. Despite how much training you got. The civilian hasn't been into combat training. Just how to shoot a damn target, that's about it. Learning a rule book and basic. That's it. Unless, of course, they've been through a combat situation where they're actually going to be carrying a gun and ready to use it at a 24/7. But hardly anybody does. Of course, don't blame people who don't like the damn guns. And yes, I don't like the guns. Because I don't want the guns around, but the bad guys actually can get the guns and then we're screwed. Therefore, everybody else has to be armed. We have to be armed more and more and more. Gets to the point where we're going to be carrying bazookas or Uzis or M5s or MP90s. We don't like it, we shoot you. But then again, we have to deal with the paperwork and the law and legal and everything else. And whether or not I was a good shoot or not, depending whether the law has already been passed in that particular state to allow a good shoot. Did the person look at you wrong, or did he actually do something wrong in the first place? Remember George Floyd and Yellen? George Floyd has got his ass reamed. Sees a kid, thinks he's a problem, and he kills him. Outright, there's no weapon on the kid. He shoots him because he thinks he's armed and dangerous. He's an armed wannabe security officer. Now he has his life ruined because of the decision he made. He carried a gun. The kid didn't. He was coming back from the store. Martin. Martin was a kid. A teenager. A young teenager. What the hell happened with this kid? But they see the kid. Actually, Floyd sees the kid and shoots him. There's been no belligerency. But because they have a certain law in Florida during that time that gave an excuse to the shooter, that was all right. You have a massacre in schools, you have a massacre in bars, in nightclubs. It's supposed to be alright? Texas, where you're supposed to be allowing guns to be permitted all the damn time. Uvalde. How many law enforcement were out there and one kid's got an armed weapon? Actually, more than an armed weapon. And he didn't hold hostage. Oh, actually, he did hold hostage, but he was also filling body bags. Took about an hour. All that personnel couldn't even figure out what the hell's going on. They were waiting for a chain of command. They had all the guns, all the opportunity. Every one of them fucked up. Except for Border Patrol to get in there and shoot the kid. There was no chain of command, and everybody is pissed off at the state of governor, the Department of, their Texas Rangers are pissed off at their local law enforcement for wasting all that time in allowing their kids to die, and teachers. Now we got more school shootings happening. We got malls under threat. All these other bigger cities. But Uvalde was also a small community, just like Rosamond. They had their own police department. We don't have our own police department. We don't even have enough money coming into our own county for us to afford a police department. We don't have enough taxes going out to get a police department of ourselves, let alone fire department. Barely got one station as it is to handle 30,000 people. We have one paramedic service, 4 ambulances. That's it for 30,000 people. We just got a new engine that makes it 4 engines in this town. We cover 30,000 people in this place. This is Rosamond, California. People are complaining about their taxes being too high, paying for high water bills. They're complaining about mismanagement of their own funds. And we have this situation happening, where we have CHP, the LA County Sheriff, supplementing Kern County that we have out here to get one asshole. How does this work again? And the town's going to have a field day over this damn shit. They're going to be talking about this thing for days and weeks on end. There's got to be a consensus in this town of saying what the hell they want to do with this. And everyone else is going to be wondering whether or not they're going to be allowing the other guy to do it or not. Some of them are going to be demanding that something needs to be done, but they're going to be too damn afraid to do it. And if they happen to do it, that guy's going to be in trouble because they're taking the responsibility and they'll leave him out to hang and dry. That's what happened. Read it happen. Scary as hell. This town is trying to live, trying to be conservative, trying to be its own nature, its own self. Doesn't realize that towns, doesn't matter if they want to keep their own damn individuality, are just as open season as larger towns are. What do they need to do? Have armed guards in this whole damn place? And make sure that everything's working okay, and everyone else is home, and everyone else has to know what's going on? We have to be completely paranoid. Is that how they want to live their lives in this town? Because apparently that's going to be it. They'll be paranoid in this damn town. We're right next to a military air base. We have their basic personnel living out here. You think we'd get military help? Oh, fuck no. Because that's federal. That's military. That's not civilian and local. Doesn't matter. What happens if we got put on martial law? Who's going to be administrating it? What happens if this town of Rosamond gets to be put under martial law? Is it going to be Edwards Air Force Base's responsibility? Or is it going to be Kern County? Or will it be the people themselves going up and down the streets, making sure that everything else is all right? and then giving them the excuse to badger and belliger people who would think don't belong here. We're coming to that point. If we're not at that point already. There had been a polite argument or fight between their supposed Chamber of Commerce versus veterans and business groups in order to have a Christmas parade. And if it's going to be sanctioned and protected by Kern County Sheriff, or even visited by Kern County Sheriff, let alone CHP, if it's going to be official or not. So the veterans and the Kern County Sheriff, veterans and the local merchants are still going to be running their Christmas parade this Saturday, December 3rd, hopefully. If not tonight, hopefully. We're going to be demonstrating what Rosamond is supposed to be. But we're also supposed to be having another situation where the official Kern County Chamber of Commerce is supposed to be having their own events protected officially by law enforcement. Because they are officially recognized by the County of Kern. So we can have that issue. Kern's got to wake up. Actually, Rosamond's got to wake up. They all got to be awake. Not this woke political crap that people are trying to produce, but realize that they got issues. They got issues. And eventually, nobody's going to be the same afterwards. I'm walking you. Give me a second, will you? She must be obeyed. Alright. Well, yeah, I did another video. And I'm going to send it out. So that's the trailer end. Updating it here. So how are we going to be doing, Rosamond? Are we going to be living, or are we going to be counting body bags, or are we going to be counting how much people we're going to be dragging and kicking and screaming out of here, or what are we going to be doing at this point? Are we going to try to live with our fears, or are we going to be trying to live as residents? Or are we just going to be tearing each other apart just for the general fun of it? This is yours.